This is the Backseat Boyz podcast. This is the first of what will hopefully be many episodes, so I think we should just take some time to introduce each other. Why don't you go first?
I'm Drake, and I don't know my sexuality.
I'm Travis, and I'm rather short.
I'm Jordan, and I tend to play sports.
I'm Wendell, and I'm the fat one.
I'm Carson. I like to consider myself a meme fiend.
I'm Colin, and I'm a walking disease.
Alright, so now with that out of the way, I think that a good way to start off this episode, or actually this might end up being the whole episode, is school stories. So obviously everybody's gone to school. It's something everybody can relate to, and we thought this would give you a good opportunity to get to know who we are. So does anybody have a really interesting story they want to get off the bat?
So I just want to ask, this can be like elementary school to any, like, there's no specific...
Any school.
You've
not,
had 12 years at least.
Okay, alright, I just wanted to...
I can start off.
I got one.
Right.
So, I
Yes,
used to have
Drake.
this teacher, and you know the type of guy who you look at, you're like, wow, this guy gets puss.
Ooh.
I was just, one day at recess, it's like fucking shivering outside, and I wanted to go inside to pee, to warm up, and I walked up to him, I'm like, can I go inside? Because, you know, puberty and shit. And he's like, no, you may not go inside to expel your urine.
Ooh.
Now, something about this, I don't know why, it just kind of actually, like, it didn't crack me up, but it actually kind of frightened me. Because, like, I don't know what the fuck to think about this guy, and I'm like, do you know how to socialize? Like, what am I a person to you? So, that really just kind of, threw things out of whack there, and that's when I kind of realized I wasn't a normal kid.
That's when you realized.
Well, in the sense that other people treated me like I was like a robot.
A robot.
Yes.
Please
'Cause
define a robot.
Oh,
Animatronic?
well, because this was like in grade 2. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of fucking experiences, you remember. But like that was like, oh wow, okay, why?
What does a robot mean?
It's robot.
I don't think I know what urine means when I was in grade 2. To
That's
be honest.
exactly, yeah. So I was like, what the hell? Am I the one who's fucking like? Yeah, no. Okay, all right. Enough of that rambling, Travis.
Our school, my elementary school, had a strict no touching rule. So me, being the absolute just tyrant, Satan, daredevil I was when I was in kindergarten, I got sent to the principal's office because I was so bad. I gave a girl a hug.
Oh,
I know.
daring.
Sorry. It had to be done.
Nowadays, that'd be rape.
Yeah, it would. She
That's
did not.
Not
consent.
even exaggerated.
I just hugged her.
My sister, actually, when we were in
So
elementary
Travis the
school,
rapist.
she really pissed me off, and this was like, you guys been to my school before, right? You know the bridge?
Yeah.
Like, I actually pushed her off of it. And I got
Like, into the water?
no,
Or the
No.
other bridge?
okay, what are we talking about now? Like,
Oh, no, I know what you mean now.
Yeah, at my, like, the playground.
Yeah, so she just fell on those, like
Ye-
perfectly throwable rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she was just like, hi, Drake, I'm in school. I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, I actually just, like, just pulled her over and tossed her off.
I'm in school.
And then, yeah, they're like, why would you do that to your girl? To your girl. To that girl.
Whoa! What were you two doing in LE?
Anyways.
Wait, is that the slide that I couldn't stop like on the rocks and I just ended up headbutting it the one night?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're like, why did you do that to that girl? I'm like, she's my fucking sister. Like, I'm like, do I need to explain this to you? And I almost got suspended, I think. Yeah.
I'm actually curious, has anybody here been suspended or expelled or anything?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, the guy up next.
Okay. All right,
I've
Jordan.
been in school suspended like 4 times. Nothing interesting though. It's like, oh wow, this kid pushed me, so I punched him in the face or something. But
Retaliation.
I got an in-school suspension one time for something stupid. It was me and my 2 friends were playing a game where at some point he was wearing a sweater and his head was in the sweater part and I was pulling him around on the ground by his hood. Right? And so I'm pulling him around and the teacher sees us and starts yelling at us, blah blah blah. Go to the principal's office. Right? And as she's yelling at us and like we're facing her and she's facing like us, so we can see what's behind her, she can see what's behind us. A little like a grade 2 or something, and we're in grade 8. Gets smoked in the face with a fucking football, like right behind her, right? And all we hear like from behind her is a quick like, "Ree!" Like the kid died, and she's like in mid yelling, and like there's people like yelling and screaming behind her, like some tragedy just struck, and she's just yelling at us, and I'm like pointing. Chris is trying to figure out like how to get her attention. She runs like back there, and like starts yelling at them for hitting a kid with a football, even though it wasn't the kid. It was the kid's fault completely. She comes back to us, and she forgot what she was yelling at us about, so she just sent us to the principal's office. And on the way there, we couldn't stop laughing because we just watched a grade 2 die. So we get to the principal's office, and it's one of those cases where you just can't stop yourself from laughing, right? And our principal's like a short, fat lady, and she's like short, fat, like she's like 4'6", right?
Yeah.
She's very small, and she's yelling at us, right? And we're laughing, and she became the principal like that year, so she's like, I'm gonna be extra mean to show like I'm not messing
Show her
around.
place, yeah.
Yeah. And so she's yelling at us, but we're laughing. We're not taking her seriously at all, right? And she's like, you know what? I'm sending a note home to your parents to tell them about this. And so we get a note, and it's literally like, they were roughhousing on the playground and then laughed when got yelled at.
Oh.
So I forget to get my parents to sign it, right?
Yeah.
But I know my parents wouldn't have cared, but I forget them to get them to sign it while my friends have. So that morning, I like try to forge my parents' signature, but it's terrible, right? And I make up some lame story that was my dad was so angry he broke the pen while writing it or something. It was something terrible. Like, grade 8 Jordan couldn't lie. And I gave it to the teacher, the principal, and the principal was like, you think I'm stupid? So, and then I got an in-school suspension for 2 days for forging my parents' signature on that.
Wow.
You actually got caught. I did that all the time, and it just looked like shit. Like, nobody's just like, oh yeah.
Sounds like we just got a bunch of rebels in this room.
I was always too scared too.
Yeah, I was not the rebellious type in school or in
I
life.
was rebellious. It was like something came up, I'm like, oh fuck, and like, and then you just kind of panic and do it, and then you hand it in with this weird smile, and they're like looking at it, and you're like, hey.
I feel like in elementary school, you very rarely forge your parents' signature, like, oh god, they're not gonna want this. It's more, oh, I forgot to ask them.
Yeah, exactly.
I did that one. I only forged my mom's signature once, and it was on a permission slip to go to track and field.
Yeah.
I completely forgot until the day we were going. I was like, oh crap.
I've never forged or anything. It's just like either I've gotten them to sign it or I've just completely forgotten. I show up to school and everyone's like, oh yeah, I got this signed. I'm like, wait, what?
No, that's when you forge it. Right then.
That's when you forge it.
When they go, oh, I got this signed. You're like,
Wait, Jordan, didn't I need like a signature from my parents? And I was like, Jordan, sign this for me, please. And you signed it instead of signing my dad's name. You just wrote down your name.
He did that for
Hold up.
that so many times.
He
for
didn't
different
just
people.
write down his name. Our drama teacher told you to get your parents to sign it. You gave it to Jordan, and Jordan, in regular printing, wrote his name, Jordan Smith. Not your dad. He didn't even put Jordan Jorgensen for your life. He just wrote Jordan Smith in regular printing. It looked like it was written in a crayon. And you're like, here you go.
It was the same class who gave it back too. You didn't even take it home.
No, because I went and I was like, look at this. And just like, the drama teacher's like, look at this. He got sassed.
what? Yeah, because I was like, whatever, I'll just write my name. I'm your guardian for the week. I'm babysitting you. There, boom. Problem solved.
You weren't 18.
So? Do you think...
It's a bit of a legal issue.
That's one of the 2 requirements to be a legal guardian.
Yeah, but be honest with yourself. Do you think they put in the research?
Yes!
For all they know, I'm
You're
Wendell's
going
drunk
to the
stepdad.
same school though.
For all they know, I'm Wendell's drunk stepdad.
I mean,
Sounds about
Jordan
right.
Smith's not necessarily a rare name.
Exactly.
I remember one time in grade 10 photography, we had to write an essay for photography class. Stupidest assignment. Anyways, me and Jordan are done our essay, so we just decide to piece out of class. Drake's left sitting there, and our teacher was like, and is like, walks over. He's like, hey, Drake, I see you didn't use MLA format there. Me and Jordan here, this is we're walking up the class, so we speed up. We're going like twice as fast. Walk down the hallway, and we see Elf playing, so we just walk into the class, because Jordan knows the teacher well. And we just sat there the whole class watching Elf.
He just fucking lectured me for the entire thing. Like, nothing actually got fixed. He was just like, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and then he's like standing right next to me, waiting for me to fix it. I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna take a little bit. He's like, well, fix it. I'm like, oh,
It
Jesus
didn't-
Christ! Like,
I didn't know, was that
You guys didn't even do anything that class, right? He just spent the whole class
did we ever
judging
do
you.
anything any class?
No.
Yeah. And then the one huge final assignment came up, and everyone was like,
With Jordan's Let It Glow meme.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, Jordan,
Jordan,
come on.
I can't hide
You're
behind you.
accountable
This is
for
not a
your
video.
actions. This will be...
Sounds like a
Explain
good school story.
It wasn't a story. It was just we had to choose our five favorite photos and title it and shit. And I had a photo where it's like candles in the dark, right? And I was like, wow, this was edgy and cool. And I couldn't think of a name for it, so I'm like, dab, make a Frozen pun.
Like,
yeet,
Colin and I
stir.
were becoming friends at that time, but I think at that time we're like, oh, that's fucking terrible. Like, we both unanimously were like, Jordan, that's terrible.
You lost your wallet that same day on the bus, so fuck you.
You know, okay.
You know what, Jordan? I'll make you chug a Fanta again. I
Wait,
killed
what?
him in that photography class. He bought a Fanta from across the street because we'd leave class all the time and just go across the street to the convenience store. And I made him chug the whole bottle down without a breath.
You didn't make me chug it down. It was like up in my mouth. And then you like punched the end of it where it like, went halfway down my throat, so I was just stuck there trying to chug it so I wouldn't drown.
I don't know about you guys, but when I think of like my time in school, I think of a lot of embarrassing moments, and I'm sure we've all got, you know,
I have
quite
got-
a bit.
Quite.
My
I
life
am.
Show 'em.
is a chronology of cringe.
Cringe.
No, you want to talk about cringe? You know those kids on the elementary playground that pretended they had superpowers and like pretend fought each other with magic?
You did that.
I was
by
one of those
yourself?
kids.
I had my friends and I had all the role playing shit down. Yeah, it was like recess time. It was like, oh, actually no. The one thing that we didn't do that was role playing was Matthew hunting season, and that was every month. So like it would just be like if you see Matthew, just try to tackle him, and there's like 50 kids who are participating, so it got out of hand really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No, role playing was like the best.
one time I actually remember just like I saw Matthew, and for context he's one of my good friends, so he kind of like he watched me just eyeing me up like, is he gonna move? And I don't know, like, you know, like those movie sort of moments where like out of frame something's there but you don't notice.
Yeah.
I bolted and I knocked my head right against like one of the monkey bar beams. Like it wasn't the big one, it was like the ones you can just kind of swing around on at like a waist level. And I just like Usain Bolt, and then just I was out cold. Like I just actually like I spearheaded that shit. Like I hit it, and then teacher comes up and she's like, okay, what happened here? And I explained it. She's like, wow, you gotta be really like I don't know what-
Unobservant.
no, yeah, it was a lot more inappropriate, but she basically talked shit about me, and yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
Carson, you got any school stories you want to talk
You got an
about?
embarrassing story?
In terms of embarrassing, I mean, take your pick. I've got quite a few.
I
The-
picked story 7.
Story set. Okay. Well, I don't even know if I have 7, but the one I'm thinking of
I was
currently.
thinking one.
So this was drama class. I can't remember. It was either 10th or 11th grade. And so we had a substitute teacher because, I mean, our meme teacher was sick for a day, unfortunately. So this sub gave us this, like, fairly simple assignment. It was, we had to do, like, a quick scene based on an emotion, and you had to associate a color with that emotion. And so if I remember correctly, I don't remember my group, but I remember we got green, which was supposed to be for, like, illness or, like, sick or whatever. And so we just whipped up a quick scene where these students, you know, fake being sick, telling the teacher, you know, I gotta go home because I'm sick. And so, you know, we just threw some chairs up on stage and we got on with the scene. And so it was me, there was one girl, and I think we had another guy in our group. And so the girl of our group, you know, did her part and left the stage. So it was just me and this other guy. And so I was to go next. And I don't know what in my brain thought that what I said would work. But, you know, because usually I rehearse these sort of things, or I jot them down quickly and then go into the scene and do it. So this one I was just completely whipping up on the spot. So I get up, I turn to the teacher, and I say, oh, I think I'm pretty sick too. I think I should go home with her. The whole class erupted. My face went beet red. I'm thinking, Carson, you retard. What did you just say? I just turned, walked off stage, pretended it never happened. But, I mean, I could never live that down.
We
That
made
was-
it very apparent it happened. We spent
Oh.
the rest of the class memeing you about it.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
like
thought the rest of the week memeing.
That's the thing. Like, I never even noticed, but we're all in the same grade 12 drama class, and we can talk about one certain individual who was like Mount Camel Toe.
No.
No, I'm not saying her name.
Okay, so
I'm
Miss
not-
Mountain always sat in her seat. She's a gymnast dancer.
Okay.
So she
okay,
always
okay.
sat in her seat with her legs
even do it.
behind her head. Drake's trying to do it right now. So she'd cross her ankles behind her head and wear the tightest Lululemon, what are these?
Leggings.
Leggings you could possibly find. And just the rankest camel toe.
Moose
And-
knuckle.
No one could say anything. Because you can't be like, you have a camel toe right now? Because then you're admitting that you were just looking.
Yeah, you just,
But
you
like
look
you
like a
can't
bird.
not look because she's sitting there with her legs behind her head, rocking back and forth in her chair.
I don't even. How can you? She talked to the teacher all the time, and just he had so much like composure just to be like, like it's not like he would look, but it's like anyone and everyone was literally like, what are the fuck you doing?
Everyone
Like,
and their dog.
yeah, everyone and their dog was like, you gotta stop. And he's just sitting there, it's like, so, how was your weekend? She's like, oh, it was really good. And just like, the stanks going everywhere. Everyone's getting fucking uncomfortable.
I think I could just narrow down like the majority of my embarrassing stories just to drama class
The
because so
drama
much
class.
happens. Yeah.
I mean,
Wild.
like, now looking back on them, some can be pretty cringy.
Oh,
Like,
okay. My entire high school experience is like cringe.
Okay, well, you weren't literally labeled as an emo kid in grade 9.
Oh, I never had an emo phase.
You were an emo kid in grade
Yeah,
9.
speaking of grade 9, we all came together in grade 9 because of Drake. And I'd say I was probably the first one to meet him because he was in my homeroom.
No, I was a grade 11 boy.
I was
Yeah,
grade 10.
I was a grade 10 boy.
That's so
Nice.
weird.
So I'm sitting in homeroom. I sit with the only person I know. 2 weeks later, she moves. So everyone's sitting in a group. There's an empty chair, and then me. I'm sitting alone. This kid with long, dark black hair hanging over his eyes in a bright orange and black striped hoodie.
It's red.
Whatever, red and black striped hoodie, looks at me and goes, Travis, come sit with me. You're all alone. I go, ah. He's like, there's a seat right here. So I walk over there, and then the emo facade immediately goes away as he gropes me in homeroom. Does some, hiya, you're sitting with me. I'm like, oh.
Oh, so we're like that now.
So now this is how it's gonna be. 4 years later, we're sitting in homeroom in grade 12, and I'll lie down on my favorite table to have a nap, and Drake will just straddle me and go, hey, big boy, and our homeroom teacher doesn't even bat an eye.
That's
We-
the thing about our
we-
school is like that stuff's not even considered irregular.
We were spooning, like, right on... Well, okay, was I even regular in the school? I'm
Nope,
pretty sure
no.
Nate Dawson actually, he told me he wanted to name drop me in the speech because he thought I was so different from everyone
So
else.
like universally known.
Yeah.
As a meme. Just like that kid who literally wore, like, what did I wear? I wore that, do you guys remember, like, that glow-in-the-dark, like, onesie I had all the time?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that shit was fucking tits.
Well, we had a special friend group where, like, if you broke it down to all of us individually, we all fit in a different friend group. Like, some of us could fit with the jocks and the musical kids and the art kids, but we all kind of strayed away from those groups and found our own group of people that don't want to be in the normal and just kind of made our own group. And Drake was, like, our mascot.
It's like the
Because he
loser
was-
club from It minus the killer clown.
Yeah, because Drake was just so abnormal. He was our mascot of, do you want to not be a normal kid? Come join me. And every other day, he'd just find a new person. Like one time he was like, Travis, come to Jack Eaton's with me. We're going to have lunch. I said, okay. And we start leaving. Halfway there, he's like, oh, by the way, this is Colin. I met him in class today. He's going to eat with us. And that's when I met Colin. Drake just decided to kidnap him one day.
Actually, no. That was from Colin trying to make friends, and he was asking people want to go lunch, and they kept saying no. And Drake felt bad for me, so he invited me to go for lunch with you guys.
Little did Drake know we'd be stuck with Colin to
One
this
of-
day.
One of the times I actually remember is when I introduced Jordan. I introduced you and Ryan
Mm-hmm.
at Danks,
Yep.
and I was just like, "Oh, this is so cool! You guys are friends and everything." It's like, yeah, this is Ryan, kind of my best friend. It's like, and this is Jordan. I just met this guy, and you were just like, you really hit it off. And now to this day, it's just like I'm pretty sure you see him. He's just like a party. He's like, fuck you.
Pretty much.
I think I had kind of got introduced to the group a little bit. I knew Colin in elementary school, but we weren't that close. I believe I met Jordan in English class, and I think he kind of brought me to the group. But I remember the one member of the group that I had not met through school was Matthew. And I ended up meeting Matthew at Cashopolis, actually. I remember some of the meme lords were there buying their games, and of course, being a stereotypical Canadian, I love hockey. That includes video games.
Oh my god.
I remember this.
And I hear a young Travis say, "Oh, I hate those kids that call it Chell." You know, the abbreviation for NHL. And I just pop my head up. I'm like, Chell? I turn my head towards the group, and they're just like, "Carson, what are you doing here?" And then they're like, "By the way, this is Matthew." I'm like, "Oh, Matthew, I've heard so much about you." And then, first meeting, you'd think it'd be kind of awkward, don't know what to say to each other. No, Matthew goes in straight for the hug. We embrace each other, and I just, we instantly just became bros. And then, I split off from the group, went on our separate ways, and, I've met him a handful of times since then.
That was a good day. Matthew and I were actually just looking at a game.
I was there too.
Yes, Drake was there. And I was like, I hate people that say Chell. And he popped up like it was a movie from behind the counter, like, "Did somebody say Chell?" And he was about to sell us something. He popped out like you could have said that in any location in the world and he would have popped out no matter what. Like it was a summoning code.
Oh my god, that was the same day we were shopping around and shit, and I bought a PlayStation 2, and then we wanted to go to the McDonald's in the East End, and Travis was driving, and I'm like kind of poor with giving driving directions, so I was like, "Travis, McDonald's is to your left," and he's like, "Okay," and there's 7 lanes when you kind of get out there, and Travis is like maybe he's actually in the far most right lane.
I'm in the farthest right lane.
And he's like, "Okay, cool, move over one." And I'm like, "No, right there." And he had a 5-second window to maybe do a 90-degree turn into that turning lane, not even turn towards it, but to get in the turning lane. And it's busy as shit. So yeah, Travis actually just drifted over into the turning lane and then just kind of used the same momentum to just fucking push past the intersection and get there. But yeah.
That was also the same day that we went to Toys R Us, and we were about to walk in, and you were running towards the door really stupidly, and Matthew said, "Drake, control yourself," and just tried to grab you on the back, but him touching your back made your skinny ass fall forward, and you headbutt the sliding door as a family was walking out.
I like to point out that when Travis did that turn across 7 lanes, he also cut off his girlfriend at the time's dad. And from that day on, he wasn't allowed to drive her anywhere.
Correct.
I believe that I was the latest bloomer to the group. I was the latest one to come, like the last one.
See?
In grade 9, don't touch my fat J. I almost insulted you there. I'm so sorry. Speaking of that, grade 9, I had gym with this guy, Jason. And we became immediate best friends because we were both the large fat guys who no one wanted to partner with in gym. So we just partnered with each other. From that day on, for all of high school, he remained one of my closest friends. We hung out all the time. And then one day, we were like, we went to musical practice, rehearsal in the morning, and we just weren't needed that day. We're like, well, fuck, what do we do now? So then Jason saw Travis sitting at one of the tables in the in the commons, because for some reason Travis was always at school super early.
My mom dropped me off at 7:30 and school didn't start till 8:30.
So
I wanted to die.
So Jason just kind of dragged me over there and said, "This is Travis." I'm like, "Oh, hi." And then you all pulled out your phone and started playing the same phone game. I think it was Brave Frontier.
No, it was Clash of Clans. I know this because I was at the school at the exact same time because my brother had a 7:30 class, so I just go with him. And I absolutely hated Travis's voice in grade 9. Because I don't know why, you were just so nasally in grade 9.
Sorry. I'll just
you would be always talking with the other Travis that was at our
Olsen.
school.
I love him.
And for some reason, I would just sit there and I could always hear you guys from across the commons yelling about Clash of Clans. And I was like, man, those guys are dorks. I hope I don't end up like him. And here we are, really close friends now, like 5 years later.
But anyway, so I introduced Travis, find out that, I don't know if you were in our math class, but most of the boys from the group were in that math class. Grade 9 math class. But I knew about the group, I just didn't really hang out with you guys until grade 11, because I was hanging out with the weeaboo art people in the art room for grade 10. And then one day in grade 11, I think we all had a spare in the same period. And that's how we all became, like, good friends. I think it was Carson, Jordan, Travis, and me in grade 11. Had the same spare.
Yee.
I didn't even realize that. I really kind of was like, I bridged the friendship groups.
You started
You
this
brought everyone
event.
in.
And it's just like, because, like, I don't know. I just hang out with some other... I hang out with other people sometimes, and they're like, oh, cool, how did you guys all get together? I'm like, oh, shit, I should be
How much
explaining
time
that.
you
Like,
got?
I don't know what to say. I can't... It's like, I saw Colin, he was diabetic, and that was pretty cool, and Jordan was a big athlete at the time, and I didn't want to do push-ups in drama class.
At the time?
No. Okay. I mean, like, he was, like... I mean, of course, Jordan's still in sports, but I mean, like, he was that kid who was literally, like, ready just to jump on anything that required moving. So, like, obviously, I'm really goddamn lazy, and we were doing the icebreaker in grade 9 drama class. Can you believe that Caswell said that was his favorite rotation?
Yeah, because we were fucking amazing.
I was crazy. I'm like, that's okay. Anyways, sorry. I'm like sitting next to this guy. I'm like, man, I don't want to do 10 push-ups. And then Jordan just goes like, I will. And then he actually goes, ejects down and goes like up and down. He was like, there you go, I'll sign it for you. And I'm like, wow, thanks, man. And then, yeah.
In my defense, I'd already had one class with Drake, and it's the first day of school, and you have like 15-minute classes, and I sat beside Drake in that class, but we didn't say anything because we both just sat there because we had no friends. And at that point, I told myself when I walked in that class, I was like, I should probably talk to him. And I didn't know how to start a conversation with him. And then he started complaining about push-ups. I'm like, oh, this is my moment!
I didn't know I was
I'm ready. I'm prepared for this day.
I didn't know I was that special to you at the time.
I didn't want to end up like I am now, where I'm in a uni class where I don't like anyone in it.
Oh my god, tell me.
I don't think I've asked any of you guys this before, but like, what legitimately was your favorite class in school?
Drama.
Like any grade?
Drama.
Oh, that's hard.
Favorite class or favorite like class because of the people in it, or favorite class of what we did?
Either.
Drama.
Because of what
Whatever.
we did, I
Doesn't
feel
change.
like everyone would pick drama or gym.
See, I'd pick drama because I had it. Grade 12 drama was literally, I'd say 3/4 of the squad was in our grade 12 drama class. But I met my current girlfriend in my Spanish class. Yeah, way there.
Grade 11 gym.
Grade 9 gym with Drake.
Grade 10 gym with Jordan.
Grade 11 gym with young Travis Foss, Chris Bolin,
And me, don't forget
and
me.
Carson Zickman. I'm going to tell a story about that. We went
Please
to
do.
a gymnastics place, and there was one. They had one rule where you weren't allowed to do flips off of trampolines.
Into the foam pit.
Yeah, into the foam pit. And so, like, people are going. One kid does a flip, and it's like, obviously he did a flip, so he gets in trouble, right? It's my turn to go up. I'm like, I'm going to go for distance here. I'm going to, like, try and get to the edge of the foam pit. So I do my first 2 jumps to get height, and then you do, like, 2 forward, and then my plan was to jump near the edge, so I'd get as much, like, I'd cheat as much, essentially, get close as I could to jump.
Yeah.
But my feet got stuck in that, like, you know, trampolines where the springs attach.
Yeah.
My feet got stuck there, and so my top half of my body moved, the bottom half didn't, and it was like a burger flipping, essentially, just boom, super fast, just head first into the pit, just like stuck in, and then like my legs were straight up for 2 seconds, and then I slowly fell forward, and I like the woman who was like there from like, who was just supposed to be there, like at the gymnastics place, was getting angry and shit, and our teacher was dying, and he had 2 interns at the time, and they were both fucking losing their minds, and that teacher and the interns taught my social class at the time.
That's silly.
Yeah. And so
Mike?
they would always make fun of me in social class for doing the flip in the middle of class, like out of nowhere. Like they'd be like, "Oh wow, the war here flipped faster than Jordan," and I'd be like, "Oh, fuck me."
And of course, it's like a joke only you understand.
No, me and Chris Bolin understood it because we're both in both classes.
in grade 9 gym that I had with Drake over here, we were the two kids that were very bad at everything, but we would complain the least. So, like, the teacher would be like, all right, we're going to do 5 more laps around the football field, and everyone would be like, no, and me and Drake would be like, okay, and then they'd all finish their 5 laps, and we'd be on lap 3, and we're just slowly jogging, and the teacher would be like, all right, now you guys have to do push-ups, but we're still jogging, and we'd get there and be like, we did it, and he'd be like, good job, you guys, round of applause, because we always just tried our hardest, even though it was terrible.
I love Zach, honestly. Like, I remember the first day, because he was both my 9 and 10 teacher, but he was like, you know, I've had a lot of stupid-ass names today. If I see another one, I don't know what I'm going to do. First person, Drake Dormith.
Spelled with a J.
Yeah,
For context, Drake's name's spelled with, it's Jrake.
But, yeah, he just gave me this dirty look, and he's like, why did you do this to me? And that's where the friendship blossomed. But grade 10, actually, I wanted to mention it, is, I don't know why you didn't introduce yourself as a, what's the word, machinist? Like, someone who... Masochist, sorry.
I wonder why he didn't verbally.
Okay, anyways.
I'm Jordan, I like to beat my meat in back alleys. Like, what?
No, because I was going to say you're trying to go without sleeping, like, streak. And it came up to the Cooper run. Because he had to run for, like, 30 minutes, and he passed out halfway through the run, and I had to pick him up.
For context, you have to do 40 laps to get 100%, and you have 15 minutes, I believe, and 12 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I passed out with 3 minutes left. I just passed out in the middle because I'd gotten 100%. So I'd done my 40 laps, so I just passed out in the middle of the gym.
You're like on day 7 of no sleeping.
And I just passed out in the middle of the gym, and Drake, like, runs over to me like he's a fucking, like, paramedic at a sporting event. He's like, we're sprinting over, right? And Drake's like, Jordan, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. just need to catch my breath. And I lay there for, like, I was in the first group that went. You run 3 groups. It was almost when the 3rd group was done, I went and did the sit and reach, which is what you're supposed to do right after you finished your run. And I got, like, the worst score I don't think any teacher's ever seen. I couldn't even, like, reach anything near it.
Me neither.
I always
sucked at it.
I tried to, before gym started, I tried to, like, avoid gym. Like, I actually told my parents I didn't want to go into gym because I just knew, like, it wasn't going to be my thing. And I ended up, like,
it's
not
only mandatory
really
for, like,
enjoying
9 and 10, I think.
Yeah, and it is. That's the point. But, shush. And,
You were talking about avoiding gym class because it's only...
Yeah, but I actually ended up, like... I managed to hang out with Travis, and which was funny at first because we're like both, as he explained, like the unathletic kids. But then I don't know how me and Jordan kind of collaborated there. But every time something came up, like I'm sure Jordan wanted to at least like do good in one thing. But I was already like, hey Jordan, and I just got really like, I got in his face. He's like, yeah, sure. And then it just came to the expectation that I was always going to be his partner. But I wanted to talk about the pickleball game I had in grade 10.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where I was like, I sized up the competition. I never do good at jack shit with sports. And they were tossing the Olympic balls, and you're supposed to go grab one, and there's one less, like, they'll take down the numbers so one team gets eliminated. And Jordan was just like, he was just smack talking me. He's just like, you're not gonna get far. And we're like in the same group, and he got like eliminated in 2nd round.
No, I'd like to point out I got eliminated because Zach was like, "Oh look, here's this super fat kid who can't make it to the other end of the gym. I'm just gonna drop the ball right in front of him. Hey Jordan, can you beat him to it?" And I could have, but I wanted to like live because I was like, I'm gonna slide and grab it. But I noticed when he was going to pick it up, it was like, ooh, and he just started falling, and I was like, nope, it's not worth it.
But
I choose life.
The interesting part is like who I had to face at the end, and I never got to the end, and it was Jason Crass. And Zach's like, okay, I'm gonna toss it, and you two have to go grab it, and I just kind of like.
In your mind, you're like,
I look up at Jason, and he smiles, he's like, good luck. And I'm like, we weren't friends at the time, so I just kind of...
When Jason starts running and like going full tilt, he's scary.
What happened was like, it went towards his side, so I tried to like sprint past, but he got in my way, and he started stomping on me. Like he didn't know, because Jason probably couldn't feel it, because I'm fucking so goddamn small, but he's like, just stepping on me, I'm like, ow, out, and he actually like he ran over me. I fell down because I couldn't grab it because Jason kept stepping on my legs.
Scary.
For
Yeah.
context, Wendell called Jason fat, but he's not really that fat. He's like 6'9" tall, and he's probably like 4 feet wide, like shoulder to shoulder. He's a big boy.
He weighs like a little under 400 pounds would be my guess.
He weighs 320. Last time I went to the gym with him.
Ooh, reppin'.
Like a year ago.
Well, yeah, that was like last year though.
But keep in
So
mind,
He's
it's like-
become an alcoholic, so like
he's probably.
But
weighs
keep
a
in mind,
little
it's 320 pounds, not of like pure fat or anything. Like
No,
there's some muscle,
that-
obviously, but
Just the things that Katie
Yeah.
wants him to change.
more. Back.
but
So
anyway,
let's take it back to the past a bit. Back to some elementary school stories before we were all tight.
I was just gonna add on because we were kind of on like a gym topic there,
Okay, that's cool. Whatever.
and
I'll just cut myself. It's fine.
anyway, with the gym topic, I was like, no matter what grade it was, I was always that kid that treated it like the Olympics. Like I always had to do well, just because of the kind of family I came from.
You might think you treated it like the Olympics, but no one treated it like the Olympics like Drew. But Drew was not good at anything.
That's the thing. He always took it super serious, but he just came up short in every event.
He always
But
picked
like
his nose.
whenever we had gym with him, it'd be like the teacher would be like, "Okay, pick your best person," and no one would get a chance to say anything, and Drew would just fly up to the front and be like, "Yeah, that's me."
I don't know if you were. I don't know if you were in the class. Actually, you would have been. We had that. It was supposed to be a best of 7 floor hockey series, but of course we only ended up playing like 3 games. But anyway, Drew was on my team, and I can't fault the guy for trying because no matter what it is he's doing, he gives his 100%.
Yeah.
But I kind of like. I was like the leader of the team because I was like the only guy on my side that actually played hockey outside of school.
You backpacked the team. Let's be real.
I backpacked the team on my excellent goalie skills. I didn't let a single ball
It's
in.
because you were the size of the net.
But
That's
basically,
not true. I was just good at being a goalie.
I knew that
Okay.
Drew wasn't going to be able to do any of the stick handling or anything like that, so I kept him as far away from forward as I could. I told him just to play defense, and the only thing I told him was to make sure he keeps his body in between the ball and the net and to just swing his stick a lot, because eventually he'll just knock it out of somebody's possession. So he actually did an okay job. I mean, obviously we still got scored on because he's not like the quickest or anything or the strongest, but
We're good.
to put it bluntly, I guess you could say that. But we still won, I think, 2 out of those 3 games, didn't we? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we went to.
Yeah, you were in the class.
No, that was me.
Are you sure?
Could have got
That was me.
You played defense too. You were his partner.
No, I played goalie. We let Will play goalie for 1 game,
Yeah,
and he let 5 balls in.
Yeah, we're
so I
like-
was like, Will, get out of net. He's like, no. I'm
I
like,
still
Will,
don't know,
I'm
yeah.
pushing you out of net. Get out of net.
I don't know what we're thinking. Put the smallest kid in net.
He said he wanted to play goalie, but he was terrible at
We
it.
maybe thought because he was small, he'd be more agile and could slide from post to post really quick. But yeah, he was not the greatest.
I guarantee it was because you guys went, "Who's goalie for our team?" and no one said anything, and then Will went, "I will."
No, we were all still changing. Will got into the class.
He just
changed
claimed
and
the
ran out, and
pads.
he already started putting the pads on. Like, no one had even picked their teams or anything
Well,
yet. He was
because
just throwing pads on.
probably just wanted to do the least amount of work you could.
Oh, goalie's so stressful though, because
I know.
obviously
Not if you don't
get
care.
well, if you don't care, but if you're
Well-
legitimately caring, the ball goes in. Most of the blame goes to you.
Yeah, I did play 1 sport ever. I
Oh,
played
you mean
handball
yeah.
for a grade 9 to 12, and I was the goalie. And handball, a lot of goals get scored. But even if I would have a good game, where the only goals that went in was if defense let them put it in. Because, in handball, you're supposed to shoot over the defense, so the goalie has a pretty easy job. But if they break through defense, they're allowed to jump as far into the crease as they can jump.
And if it's a 1v1, the
And
goalie's
if
kind of
yeah, so I have to face off against them almost every shot because we had probably the worst defense in the league until grade 12. So every shot was they would jump into the crease and be pretty close to me, and I'd have to just hope that I jumped in front of the ball. And even if we would win, because I didn't let a goal in, all the everyone would be like, yeah, we won because we scored so much and we're so good. And if we'd lose because the defense was terrible, all the blame would go on me.
Yeah, which
So-
that's something I've noticed in any sort of team sport is when a team gets scored on, the casual sports fans will say it's the goalie's fault, whereas people that actually watch the game and are experienced with it, they realize it's a team effort, and the defense isn't always mostly to blame, but a lot of the time a goalie's only supposed to be the last line of defense. So if the defense gets exposed and it's a 1v1, the goalie's not always going to come up big.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, it is my fault.
That was
Sometimes
like
I just let the ball in.
our elementary school field hockey team. Like, I got a lot of blame when I was playing in net, but I had like 8 or 9 shots coming at me like per period,
That's true.
and we barely got possession of the ball like at all. It was mostly just them taking shots at me the whole game. The only time we ever actually really got time to take shots is when we got into a shutout.
Yeah, and obviously, if a sports team had like the actual perfect game, the goalie would never have to face any shots.
You wouldn't even need
Yeah.
a goalie.
Realistically, the goalie should never have to face a shot, but obviously that's never going to happen. You're never going to have a shotless game, but yeah, so I guess moral of that story is just don't blame the goalie because it's not always their fault.
Sometimes it is, though.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Sometimes when it's an easy shot to block and the goalie, I don't know, maybe doesn't close his legs and it goes through his 5-hole, maybe you should blame the goalie. I don't know who would
Yeah.
do something like that. Definitely not me.
Cough, Travis, cough.
But sometimes it is the goalie's fault.
When it's warranted, yeah, I guess.
Okay, so we kind of cut you off there, Travis.
No, it's okay. I just went and killed myself. It's fine.
No, I think you kind of redeemed
Dan
yourself with
Carson?
the goalie story, though.
I was going to say we should take it back to some before we were all together stories, like some
Elementary. Well,
some stories
yeah.
that tell us how you became you, because elementary is really where you...
Well, see, with elementary, I've got a lot more to say. For obviously, a lot of you listening aren't going to know who we are, but I grew up in a completely different province from the rest of these guys, so I had only met them really in high school.
I met you in grade 7.
Yeah, that's true. We were elementary school for 2 years, but again, I think I mentioned before, we weren't like the closest in elementary. It wasn't until high school that we really became friends. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys got any like stories you really want to say.
I learned from a quick age that I need to be able to stand up for myself and like be able to do things. I'm a really short person. I was always really, really small. But that has nothing to do with that. That's just
It's just a
sometimes I
fact
have to-
about you.
Yeah, that's just a fact. But
So you're an easy
on the
target.
first day of kindergarten, my best friend in elementary school, still one of my best friends right now, his name's also Travis. He was my
just
best,
inserted
whatever.
as well.
He was my best friend in elementary and still is. But we both have the same name. We got on the bus on the very first day of kindergarten, my first day at school. We get on the bus together, and we go to school. We have a jolly old time. It's great. We got to color stuff. It's home time at lunch, because you only have half days in kindergarten. I go to get on the bus, and the bus driver's like, name. And I'm like, I'm Travis. I love school. And he's like, you're not on my list. I'm like, what? He's like, I already checked off of Travis, because my friend Travis had already gone on. And I'm like, but you brought us both here. There's 2 Travis. He's like, nope, only one. And he physically pushed me off the bus. I was the last in line, closed the doors, and left.
Oof.
So I sat on the curb, and I was like, well, guess I'm stuck here.
Guess I'll die.
Yeah, I literally sat on the curb and cried for like 10 minutes until my kindergarten teacher came out and was like, time to go for lunch. And she's like, boy, what are you doing here? And I told her, and she was like, get in my car, kiddo. So I got in her car, and she drove me home.
At least it wasn't a
Thankfully.
stranger danger.
Yeah, thankfully she drove me home. I didn't know at that age not to get in
Your
people's
teacher
cars.
knows where you live.
Well, she went into the office, found the address, and took me there. But
I
like,
thought you meant like just straight from
Well,
there.
I
Get
feel
in my
like
car. We're going to your
In
house.
kindergarten, you could probably remember. You might remember where you live. You might know your address.
nope, because also that year, while I was in kindergarten, we went to a park one time, me and them, and I was spinning on the tire swing, and I was like doing that thing where you like lean outward and you like spinning so fast you can't stop. It feels like if you let go, you're gonna fly out. And they're like, Travis, you need to stop, or we're gonna leave you. And I'm like, I can't stop. Someone help. And they're like, we're gonna leave. You don't stop. I'm like, I can't stop. So it finally stops on its own, and they're gone. I was like, they were just around the corner, just taunting me. But I was like, they're gone. It's over. And I ran the wrong way. I'm like, they lived this way, and I was gone. I did not know where to go.
I want to tell the story when I ran away from home, go to McDonald's.
When was this? How old were you?
This was back in grade 1. I go up to my mom and I'm like, "Can I go play outside?" And she's like, "Ask your sister if you can go outside with her." I go to my sister. "Can we go play outside? You can just go sit out in the front lawn. It's fine. Like, supper's soon anyway." So I go outside, sit on the front lawn. I'm just like playing with a ball or something. And my neighbors leave their house and like start walking. And my little kid brain is like,
Follow.
I am a government officer. I must follow these people. I'm pretty sure that's the exact thing. I started to be like, I am a secret agent. I must figure out where they're going. So I just started following them, and at some point it stopped being that and just being, I want ice cream. And just to show how good of a family we were for eating food, the only 2 places I knew were my home and where the McDonald's was.
Wow. I mean, those are the only 2 places you really need.
Yeah, so I walked from my house to the McDonald's, probably about like a 15-minute walk away. Go inside, ask for ice cream. They ask for money. I say no. They say, well, we can't give you ice cream then. I say, well, shoot. I go and sit in the play structure and cry for like 10 minutes. And then walk home. I get inside and no one's home. I'm like, this is weird. Turns out, right in front of my house, there was this huge hill, huge valley. My parents thought that I fell down the hill.
Into the valley.
Into the valley.
The Valley of Death.
So they went and searching in the valley, and I'm just sitting on my on the couch in the house while they're looking for me. I'm like, man, supper's taking a really long time. My dad walks in, and I just look at him and go, what's for supper?
Probably had a heart attack when he sees you.
I was in a lot of trouble. Really.
I like to cover it again just because we didn't get it, but can I talk about how I went into the girls' bathroom?
Yep.
Yeah,
Like 3
why
times.
not?
So it was the second time that it was actually kind of memorable, but I went in, and for context, the wings of the high school, like, they're all broken off into different colleges. Yeah, that's the word.
Tell that part?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Our school's put into different colleges. You have college A, B, C, and D, and they're just hallways. And all of them have the bathrooms with the guys on the left and the girls on the right. But we have a 5th college, College E, that has like the art rooms and the cooking and the wood shop, all the artsy stuff. And down that hallway, the bathrooms are reversed. So the guys are on the other side. So 4 of them are one way and 1's the other way. And you're never in that 5th hallway, really, except for maybe one time. So if you're really used to going into the same washroom and you go there, you might go in the wrong one.
And I'm not very attentive. And I was just going to say, as you're explaining it, that's kind of just like a backward-ass design to begin
It's
with.
very backwards.
And I went in, and it didn't click to me that the bathroom I was in didn't have any urinals. But I really needed to poop, so I went in there, and I kind of heard clipping, like, so clipping or
The
clopping.
horse came in.
High heel noises.
High heel, sort of. Well, it was kind of like a clop.
Clicking is the word you're looking for.
Is it really clicking?
I'd call
Yeah.
it clicking.
He
I
heard
call it-
footsteps.
Yes.
Woman footsteps.
Okay.
Female footsteps.
And I looked down, like, while I was pooping, and I just kind of analyzed. I'm like, I'm in the girls' bathroom. So I needed to escape, but before that happened, she came up, the girl came up to the adjacent stall and went in and started doing her thing, and she just said, "Hey girl, you got a temp?" And, I, like,
Did not.
I didn't. Yeah, you're right.
Clearly you didn't.
But I kind of exaggerated because, like, you know, I'm just like, oh god, you know, this last thing you want to hear is like, yeah, sure, here you go. Like, and so I was like, no, I don't. Like, of course, like, I was trying a bit harder, but she's like, it's okay then. And then she walks out, and then I have to, like, I decided, like, I need to get out, but I can't walk out of the stall and someone sees me. So I need to make it that I need to get out just in time to nobody can see me outside and nobody can see me inside of walking
Very
out.
specific way. Like, there's no other way that you could get out of that situation without being embarrassed.
Yes, exactly. So I was trying to, like, experiment and, like, process it.
Whoa!
Okay. Well, I
That's
mean,
why
like,
you were in the girls' bathroom.
I mean, as far as sexuality, maybe, but anyways, no, I was trying to figure out how to get out, and as I made the attempt, I heard someone, like, walking up to the door, so I hid behind, like, the little cove of the door, and she opened it, and she walked in, she didn't look behind her, and then it's kind of, like, sneaked out from there. And that would have been my first time. That was really memorable. Nothing happened there. Second time, the same thing happened, but halfway through the poop, I noticed, like, I was like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong bathroom again. So I walked out, and actually,
Finish pooping?
I did.
Luckily.
That's important to the story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm halfway through the poop, and I'm like, you know what? We're here to finish it. I've been in this situation before, right? You know, like, I'm now an expert, so I feel like I can handle this.
Yeah.
And I go out, and I walk out, and she stares at me, And I just kind of smile and just walk away. Like, how am I gonna play this one off? But yeah, that would be my bathroom experiences.
You know what you know what those bathrooms remind me of? Remember when Vine was a thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Super popular?
I know what he's talking about.
Well, there was this girl. We'll call her Rosie.
Wait, which one's Rosie? Is Rosie large or is Rosie skinny?
Large.
Rosie's large, okay.
Yes, what Colin just demonstrated. She thought she was making a hoot and a half holler of a golly old Vine of her going into the wrong bathroom. So she goes into the bathroom, the first part of the Vine, perfectly fine, like goes to the wrong bathroom, and you hear her go, "Oh no!" And then she runs out, but trips and like slides and like collides with the corner of the bathroom door.
Rosie was not a very fit person.
See,
Rosie was a very large.
I think this is new for me.
Rosie was a very large
You definitely
female.
saw it.
Everyone saw it, but the fact that she still posted the Vine.
And like the hit to the ground was so beautiful because like if you drop a pop bottle is the perfect example of like the way her body moved when she hit the ground. Like it was like back and forth flailing for a second and then just slid like a penguin.
Yeah, whenever people talk about the hallway bathrooms, that's all I can think about.
I remember one time, I think it was in grade 10, and I was hanging out with Travis, and this is when we, like, before class started, we were hanging out in the commons, and one guy came up, and because I was, like, wearing, like, I think it was pajamas and, like, an elf shirt or some shit, I don't know. I was just not in the mood that day, and he's just like, "Yo, fag, why are you dressed like that?" I'm like, "Maybe I am gay," and I got up on the table and started humping Travis's head.
Well, you know what? Shit, maybe I am gay.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble grabbing the attention of females while I was with Drake. Everyone just assumed we were together.
Your current girlfriend, she actually, in grade 12, we were, you saw her in the hallway and you guys were talking and you said, "Okay, bye, I love you," and she said that, remember she said, "Okay, bye, I love you too," and then I added it, I'm like, "Okay, bye, I love you too."
Mm-hmm.
And
I also remember the first time you met her, she was waiting at the end of the hallway, and you went, "Oh my god, Travis, is that your girlfriend?" But you shouted it across, I swear people across the school could hear it, and she started laughing, and you went, "No way!" You started jumping up and down, clapping your hands, like, "Yay!" And you, like, groped me and made me carry you down the rest of the hallway. I was like, "Hey, this is my friend Drake."
Yeah. I remember dating my ex, like, during all of high school, I had basically one girlfriend.
Not basically.
Yeah, I did.
Don't
I
make
did.
it act like you
Yeah.
had many.
Yeah,
Wendell, you know what? That's one more than I had, so like...
Yes.
No,
So
He just
inept
can't-
with girls.
He can't just say basically. I basically had... No, you had one.
I had one.
I like 14.
On the side, though.
That only
I
happened
had-
once for him.
Sorry, what?
Jordan
Snooze-
on the
oh,
side.
okay. Snooze to me.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, just the whole fact, ever since I was in elementary school, everyone just kind of assumed that I was gay. So, even while dating a female, people would always come up with me and be like, "So you two still together, or are you dating a guy now?" Specifically, the resident furry in the school.
oh, yes. I wanted to just say how when I got a girlfriend finally, you guys still use me like as a scale of sexuality, like of heterosexual to Drake.
Not Drake being gay, Drake being whatever you want it to be. It's not like heterosexuality to gay, it was heterosexuality to Drake, because we don't know...
I think I was off the scale.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're like the one end of the extreme.
But talking about cringy exes, I wanted to cover one about a certain vegan we know.
Oh.
Jordan
Hey,
Day.
Jordan, how's that fertilizer coming along?
She was vegetarian, thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, elaborate.
Please.
He didn't offer to share that story.
On just the
Yeah,
two.
no.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you can. You guys dated for 2 weeks. You can. There's some memes in there that can be found.
That was a good 2 weeks of memes.
yeah,
everyone-
us making fun of him.
Everyone made fun of me, and then I was like, but I'm pretty thick-skinned, so none of it really bothered me. I thought most of it was funny. But I'd like to point out I got in that relationship and went, wow, I'd rather just be your friend.
Yeah.
And she went, same, and then we broke up. It was like the most like nonchalant breakup I've ever heard of in my life. Like, people were like, oh yeah, when I broke up with my girlfriend, I had to block her and everything, and then she punched me in the nose. I'm like, I said, I went, want to meet in the female change room, or in the male change room. She went, sure. And then we mutually went, let's just be friends.
It's like the most calm,
Yeah,
normal
like
thing ever.
nonchalant thing. And then later in the day when I had a class with her, I punched her in the gut.
Rude.
Very rude.
That's a
Back to
meme.
it.
The
It was
rude.
funny.
She thought it was
I
funny.
beat her up. I was laughing. We were all having a good time.
I'd like to point out, I think it was maybe grade 10 math with Jordan. And it was this one girl that I was kind of interested in. And I was getting so hyped up to go see, like, I was like, oh, Jordan, I'm going on a date with this girl. And like halfway through the class, it just dawns on me. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. So I passed my phone off to Jordan. I'm like, Jordan, tell this girl I changed my mind. And then Jordan's like, oh, what? And I'm like, that girl I was talking about. You're like, oh, yeah, that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go up. And you're like, oh, okay, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been in this situation before. And and then, what did you say?
I said something like really nice and like was really like, hey, I know I just felt like I felt pressure in the situation. I don't think I fully meant what I said, and I'd rather we just be friends. And I remember you put that and you'd be like, I don't really even want to be friends with her. And I was like, Drake, you gotta tell me these things beforehand.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we should have maybe one more story just to close it all out, because we're, like, approaching the 1 hour mark.
I want to talk about my favorite Halloween I ever had. The Halloween I got diabetes.
That's it more because you
Can
edit
we-
some out and stuff.
Can we cover how you're a walking disease though? Let's
Okay,
go over the.
Well, we'll start with the diabetes, because the diabetes is the start of it all.
Okay.
So, grade 3, Halloween. I'm already, like, have the flu and everything, I think, because it's the sign. Diabetes symptoms are the same as having the flu. So I thought I was had the flu, and so whatever, I'm like, on Halloween day, I'm like, you know what? I still want to go out, so I tell my mom I'm fine, and I power through the day. I went to the bathroom and got a drink maybe like 50 times during class that day. My teacher, who was diabetic at the time, was like, you should go see a doctor about this, Colin. And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. Whatever. And so, go out, have Halloween, whatever, get like 2 pillowcases full of candy, eat in the next 3 days. Ate candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh God.
And end up in the hospital. My blood sugar is at like 54 or something.
How did your mom? Didn't you like your mom find you unconscious or something?
She found me passed out in the bathroom.
Exactly.
I was not naked though. Don't worry. I was just throwing up all night.
Oh.
So yeah, my blood sugar's at like 54 or something like that in the hospital. I can't remember any
Which,
of this.
just for reference, what's like a normal level?
Okay,
like
for
5.4.
yeah, for reference, when he says my blood sugar's at a 54, he means 54% of his blood was sugar.
And you said normal people sit at about a 5.4%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember any of this actually because, I'm delusional at this point. And so I'm in the hospital and whatever, I'm lying there. I found out I'm diabetic. I have no clue what this means, right? I sit up and I look at my mom, I'm like, does this mean I can't have chocolate milk? And she's like bursting out in tears, crying. She just found out that her son's diabetic, and my only concern is chocolate milk.
To be fair, that'd be my concern as well.
I drink that like it's the nectar of my life.
Yeah.
To be fair, you look at your mom's perspective. You just found out you're diabetic, and then your older brother is your brother, so it's like now you have nothing to look forward to.
No.
And now,
To put into perspective, though, Colin will now, instead of rationing his food like a normal diabetic, he will eat just as insane as that one Halloween, where he'll eat no matter what it is, whatever he wants, and then just up the dosage of insulin and stab himself.
That's what I
everywhere.
do though. I do insulin per carbs. So if I eat every 2 carbs I eat at breakfast, I do a unit of insulin for it. So that's what my normal is across all the day. So like if I'm like, hey, I want this chocolate bar and it's 30 carbs, that's just 15 units of insulin. It doesn't matter how much I eat during the day. It's just when I eat, I need to do insulin with it. I just do a lot of insulin.
A lot.
Like, to the point where wherever I go, it smells like a hospital.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, like, first time I hung out with Colin, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm diabetic, and this is going to smell like a hospital. And he just whipped out his needle and said, and just, like, just loaded up.
We could have a whole
was
episode
kind of-
devoted to the life of Colin.
It was kind of traumatizing the first time I watched it, to be honest. It took me a little while to get used to Colin just stabbing himself.
That's my favorite part about going to, like, a restaurant or something, especially if there's, like, a family with, like, kids beside me and stuff, and the parents are, like, giving me dirty looks. I just stare back at them. I'm just slowly clicking my insulin pen so you can, like, hear the noise of it clicking every single unit. I'll just stare them dead in the eyes while they're looking at me.
It's such an addicting smell when you do that, though. Like, just the smell of pure insulin.
I'm talking about, like,
Talking about how it
heroin or
smells like
something.
One thing
Don't-
I'd like to
okay.
say is the next time you pop it, those tabs you use to check your blood.
They end up everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I find like those in like my couch, my bed.
I wish
I
I,
don't
found
even-
them like that.
It's
I
okay.
don't even know
I have,
how
like,
to find
10
weird.
sitting in Jordan's car right now where he keeps all of his change.
I found a few of his diabetes strips in my car, and there's just a nice little red dot on the side. I'm like, what the heck? And I've peeled them in half. And I didn't know this, but you peel it in half, and there's just blood everywhere on the inside of the
Yeah,
strip.
it's all on top of a microchip.
It's all over in there. I was like, this is... Colin, you left this in my car. This is gross. Why?
I mean,
Why
you
did
can
you
kill
do
They
them.
just fall all over the place.
Okay, and then we got to go through the other.
Okay,
things.
let's see. I have nerve damage from my diabetes, but I guess the next big disease is celiacs, which was recent.
I'd put the tumor ahead of the celiacs. In the timeline, isn't the
Oh
tumor
yeah, the
ahead of-
tumor is first, but it's benign. It's not that big of a deal. I just have a tumor behind my shoulder blade.
Not
Like-
that big of a deal.
I don't know. I haven't had an MRI for it. It's been like a year now. So like,
Isn't that a bad thing?
no,
I
that
feel
means
like
I
you
keep
probably
getting
should.
pushed down a waiting list. So there's people with
Can that?
that are obviously have
Cancerous.
that are obviously cancerous because mine's benign that need to go ahead of me. So I keep getting pushed down because there's more serious cases ahead of me.
I know
I
this will
had an
sound
MRI.
stupid, but I'm not familiar. Do you get like? Does that go away, or do you need to remove it?
No, it needs to be removed, but they're not sure if they want to remove it because they have to completely take apart my shoulder, right?
Mm.
Oh,
And rebuilding a
And
shoulder
that
could be
cause issues down the line.
Yeah.
For you.
rebuilding the shoulder after getting the tumor out because it's behind my shoulder blade.
yeah.
Rebuilding the shoulder could cause more problems than just leaving the tumor in there. But every time I roll my arm like in a circle, it makes a nice cracking and popping noise, and you can feel
I
it
can,
too.
I can hear it from here.
I hate it. I actually hate it.
Really? I
I
don't
don't
mind it.
know
I don't
what it,
mind it.
I can't feel it or hear it, but just
Put
thinking
your
of it.
hand
Go
on
away,
the back
Colin.
of your-
No, put your hand on.
No,
You gotta
just
feel it one
Put your
time.
hand on my shoulder.
I don't want to.
It's gross.
I can't get it to go. Hold on.
Hold on, let me pop my shoulder into place slightly.
Oh my god!
No.
See, I don't mind it. I kind of like
Yeah,
it.
it's kind
No,
of
it's
satisfying.
You're like
I
It's
couldn't feel
gross.
it. I just felt like you moving your arm.
There's
around.
one
Colin's-
of two people in
Colin's
this world.
first
Those
big
who
hit, give me
like,
that tumor
cringe at
pop.
those.
No, it's gross if you're sitting in class and you hear this like pop, pop, and you're like, "What's this?" And Colin's like, "Oh, I'm just playing with my tumor."
Don't mind me.
Yeah, and then there's the celiacs, which is just I can't eat gluten, but
You know.
Do
and-
well, I can eat gluten. I just take a really bad shit after and kill
it
my
leaves-
stomach
Yeah,
lining.
and it leaves permanent damage. You can't just.
It
act
can only
like-
lead to cancer, but I already have a tumor, so like,
You're like,
what's one more?
double down, baby. Let's
All
do
or
it.
nothing. Let's go.
No, I'd like to say like how I know some people have gone through that, and understandably it's a big life change. But then like when I heard you got that, I'm like, okay, fuck it, Colin wins. Like I actually like I'll hear, yeah, I got celiac. I'm like, well, put diabetes on that.
I
Then.
like- that year kind of sucked too, because later on that year my house burnt down, and then I lost my dogs, and that was the worst of it. Honestly,
As I said, we could have an entire episode devoted to the life of Colin.
honestly though, like losing my dogs was worse than my house burning
Oh
down.
yeah,
I
no,
lost $200 when you lost your dogs because I lost my car key fob looking for your dogs. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna look everywhere. Like it was super hot that day, so I'm like looking underneath like into like little swamp things, like inside little tunnels.
I was
And
scared.
I think I
to win
dropped my
those.
fob in one of those, and so I lost $200. I had to rebuy my car fob.
Yeah,
And
and it
those
turns
things are freaking expensive.
like, and I was walking down the street calling their names. It turns out like a house like 3 or 4 houses down saw them on the street, brought them in their backyard, and the kids were just playing with them all day.
Yeah, I remember because the night before I slept on Travis's couch and destroyed my neck. I could like only look in one direction, so as Travis was driving around,
We ended up in a city 15 minutes away from. We ended up in. The highway was under a one-way highway construction, and there was nowhere to turn off once you left the city.
Rolled with it.
So we had no choice but to go all the way to White City. And we got Tim's.
The whole time looking for your dogs, I could only look out the window to the right and couldn't look anywhere else because my neck was just that destroyed.
About your house burning down, I love how, like, when I was putting out the meme about your house burning down and I dedicated my jersey to you, how people are like, oh wow, that's so insensitive. How they didn't know I actually picked you up and everything.
Yeah.
I like how I signed your nipple
Yeah.
on there.
But they're like, you can't wear that around. I'm like, okay.
During Stag, which is our high school's thing of like, yeah, everyone go get drunk right before graduation.
Once you're legal drinking age.
Oh yes, once you are of legal drinking age,
And
which is 19.
once everyone got drunk and everything, they're all coming up to me. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry about your house. And earlier that year on our seniors Facebook page, I put a post asking everyone to burn their senior jerseys. And I had like 7 or 8 people come up with me with their jerseys like, do you want me to burn this? I'm like, no, actually, like, you don't have to burn that. It's okay. I was just pissing people off.
Did anybody actually end up burning them?
No.
I can do
True.
a sacrifice.
It's
Well-
too late now.
Yours is already like in memoriam of my house.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't burn it now.
Like, and I don't know, it's just kind of the thing that made me just like cringe, just because like I'm getting lectured, and then I walk in, it's like, yo, you want to donate money to that kid's house who burned down? I'm like, do you know who that kid is? No. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, you know, like,
You
oh my
literally
God.
made bank off your house burning down, though, Colin. I feel like you gained
The
money from it.
GoFundMe made like almost $9,000. The school raised like almost $1,000 altogether. It was a lot of money. It was also really like
Organized.
documented thing around the city. Like
Everyone knew.
everyone,
Yeah.
like anywhere I
'cause-
went, the new like when my mom would go to the mail and like set up a temporary mailbox or get mail sent to our uncles because that's where we lived after, right?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, what's this for? I was like, oh, our house burnt down. They're like, oh, that was you, and this was on the complete other side of the city.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, it was on a
reached
major.
everywhere.
You could see it from a major road, which was a big part of it. I
You
think.
can
Well,
see it
yeah,
from
well,
Ring.
There's a giant field behind my house, and that field was filled with cars, just people watching my house burn down.
I
Which was
went-
pretty douchey.
What douchey was there's people literally on the other side of my fence smoking while they're putting the fire out.
Yeah,
The
that was
firefighters
douchey.
had to yell at everyone to stop smoking. There's a house burning down right in front of them, which
Yeah.
happened to start from a cigarette, actually. So, like...
Oh my God. It's just, I actually took pictures of your house when it was burning, though.
I have pictures.
I just knew it would be a meme one day. I was like, Colin will appreciate this.
And you see, people that aren't part of our friend group, they think it's like this horrible thing, but Colin himself will joke about the tragedies. of
While
his
it
life.
was burning.
Yeah, I was joking. I was already making jokes about it while it was burning
I picked
down.
you up and you said something really goddamn stupid.
I don't know. That's how I deal with everything in life, though. Like, I feel like it's better just to
I
laugh
feel
about
like-
it than sit there and like, oh no, this
Well-
just happened.
Yeah, and it's like there's partially that, and it's just our humor. Like, it's like as Travis explained that we're like not really. I wouldn't say
We're not really in the normal, but like
edgy, but it's just like, oh wow, I love relatable humor. It's so goddamn hilarious. Like, no, that's not funny. Like, I want to talk about some dark shit.
I feel like we're just better, especially Colin of all people, are really good at just rolling with the punches. So his house burns down, he's not sitting there crying, but he's like, that's lit. Like, he's making jokes about because he knows sitting on the sidewalk and crying about it's not gonna fix the fire. It's not gonna put it out. So just going with life and seeing what happens next is a good way to deal with tragedy.
You embraced me to make fun of my dad making fun of me as a kid, and that's just like a meme now, and it's pretty damn cool. Like, it's just like a universal meme. It's like, try quit being so gay.
It's a meme that we like to exploit quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's cool. All right, I think that's a good tie up there.
If you're still listening at this point, I mean, God bless you. I mean,
I don't know
I'm
how
surprised
you
you made it
I
this
don't know how
long.
you do it.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why you would even want to in your right mind, but
Yeah.
I
I
guess
can't even listen to
yeah.
myself for this long.
yeah.
I have to listen to it again, so...
Well.
These lights keep going, so.
Christmas lights going strobe in this room. Alright, Carson. Well, take us out, Carson.
I guess, well, thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll be able to make quite a few more of these, and hopefully you'll still enjoy them. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you later.
Yeet.
Goodbye.
Drake, stop being so gay.